Okay, so hi, welcome everyone. This is the episode two of Building the SaaS in 90 days. In the first episode, myself, Gaurav, CTO and co-founder at Techdome, and Rahul, CEO and co-founder of Techdome, we discussed about ideation of how you can create a SaaS product in 90 days. How do you ideate and identify the idea which you need to use for your product? In the current episode, we are going to discuss more about the funding part. It is one of the most critical part. Many times people ask this that they have an idea, they want to execute it, but on the other side, they don't know how to get funding for it, how to fund that, right? So, Rahul, maybe if you can throw some light on this thing related to like what are basics of funding, what should be the first steps when you are starting to think about funding?
Definitely. So I think once we talk about any startup or any work, what you want to do, you need funds, right? You need money to execute. You really need team to execute. For surviving a good team, you need funds. Right? So there are various ways where you can get funds. So we'll start with basics, where everyone is praising everyone around bootstrapping. Right? What is a bootstrapping or self-funding startups are? So these two both lies in one category. The best example is zero. So if we talk about bootstrapping or self-funding, Airbnb are one of them who raised some money, and many a time there are various terminologies which goes around. So either you can be bootstrap. Next is you can be incubated by one of the forums who like your idea on the ideation stage. Another is angel investing. Then comes the VC side of it. If you're going for a VC round, another one are crowdfunding or crowdsourcing. So you can decide whatever suits for you. So if I talk about our experiences, Gaurav, we went for the bootstrapping approach, right? So we started with service business, understand the market, develop products, couple of products we have developed. We have been with journey of many companies who have went to seed, Series A, or so forth rounds, and we have been part of them. So it gives you an idea where you can fund your ideas as well. So from that, so that was our approach towards solving a problem. Many of people go for pre-seed investment. So how pre-seed happens is you prepare your deck, you prepare your data, and you have those differentiating factors that can attract early incubators. So incubators can be anything. Like it can be around colleges. Right now, there are many incubation centers. So probably in this podcasting, we'll be sharing the details with them. But some of the incubators are you have the IITs, IIMs, BITS. You have even the regional level colleges, top colleges who are supporting like in Indore, if I talk about it, SGS ITS, which do. In Hyderabad, if we talk about it, T-Hub, which incubate. They give you an initial seed round of investment, which you can survive to build the MVP. So how it works is they give you a support at pre-seed stage to develop an idea. You go around the seed round. Once the seed round is done, MVP is done. Then for the next round, you go for the launching of MVP where your customers will be.
So one question I have here is like, what is the right time to approach to the investor? Is it can I just go to an investor with an idea, or should I have an MVP and then go to an investor? What is the right timing?
So I think right time is as soon as you think there is a requirement of funds, right? So a VC is angel investor or PE. They don't invest on your idea or something. They invest on you. They invest on founders. So how strong is your founding team? As soon as you think that your founding team is good enough for an idea, approach it. Right. So there are many taboos around solopreneurs, team of founders, whether to go ahead or not. A best team is something which is two plus members, two or two or more members, where you can go to a funding people, funding rounds to any PE or angel investor, and they should be able to carry it out. So you think you require a runway, you require a amount, and your idea is lagging, you can go there. You require mentorship, and you want to go ahead, reach out to investors.
And how much amount should I raise? Or what is the amount? How do I calculate that amount when I'm on ideation stage or just creating a SaaS product?
Yeah. So I think that's one of the good thing what we were also evaluating how to fundraise our idea and we brainstormed on it. So never you can approach to an investor and tell that we don't know how much amounts to. That's not the case. So you need to have a runway for at least 2 years, right? From funding an MVP, launching it, and sustaining it for 1 year to showcase the business. So you need to prove the financials. So prepare the financial statements which can help you run through 2 years of your product that would give an edge and that would give an investor and confidence that oh this guy can think around 2 years, then is the right time to go ahead.
And what should be like normally you have to like liquidate some kind of equity, right, for that. So what is the right equity amount? Should I like go in two digits or in one digit, or what do you suggest how the equity percentage should be divided?
Correct. So I think it totally depends on how much amount you are requiring to sustain that pool to a long term. But it's always good to approach it with a single digit percentage. So many proven accelerators like YC takes 7% of funding straight for funding you with 125,000 and 375 cap. So that gives you 125 gives you an edge for at least 1 year, 1 to 1.5 years. That gives you sustaining for your idea, launching it to your early customers, taking feedback, and the next 1 year they give you an idea that you can launch more funds around. So single digit funds is always good to go ahead. So if you make a mistake of going with double digit, then it depends on how bigger the round you are taking. So that is something you need to be very cautious around once you're deciding that, because many a times if you have seen the number of rounds which are now enough for companies, it gives you an edge and understanding that okay, there this round is this much cap. So it gives you an understanding that what time you need to go and how much you need to bet.
How do you suggest we choose an investor? I'm talking the other side now. Like, for example, I have a pool of investor, or maybe I can submit my application at 10 different places. Right. So, how do I decide where to submit and where not to submit?
So I think it depends on your idea that which segment you are targeting. So if I talk about us, so for Sparrow, we need to look for an investor who is looking to invest in a developer products, who are go to technical, who understand deep tech, and who need to take a ride. A manufacturing investor will not invest in a deep tech startup. Right. So you need to understand how much its network is. So the best thing to understand any VCs is understand their previous contracts. So use any platform like Traction, Crunchbase, or PitchBox. It will give you an idea which have raised funding and which kind of pool table it belongs. Now that VC or that investor will give you access not only to the money but to the network, the partnership, the collaborations you can do it to take ahead your startups. Right. So you need to understand what their network is capable of and whether you will be able to generate 15 times the return what that person is giving. If you're sure of that, go for that investors. And another good thing to approach an investor is by their own fundings, right? So suppose an investor has done funding in X company. You reach out to that X company. That would be easier to talk because cold emails or these are not the way to reach out to investors. Rather than get access to the company's founder they have invested in the past. Talk to them, build up your portfolio, and then approach. That gives you answers.
So basically, I like that idea that the investors needs to be aligned to the idea and the domain should be already known to them.
Yeah.
And one more good part that we discussed right now is related to the domain. And it's not just about funding, it's about mentorship, it's about partnerships, it's about customers that they can give access to it.
Definitely.
So that's a good part. So let's talk about the funding process. Like, what is the funding process? Like, how does it start? What is the next step over there? And do I get the whole amount directly in my bank account and I can party with it? How does it work?
Yeah. So I think that's a very big taboo with everyone that funding amount lands in n number of time or funding amount lands in a earlier point of time where you can enjoy. Funding amount is not something which lands you in an easier time point of time, but you need to be good with your numbers, right? So whatever your financial statements is, whatever your projection are, whatever you are clearing on the page board, it should be exactly matching to your books.
Okay.
So you need to make your books airtight. What financial projection you are looking at, amount of profit you are making if your company is registered. If your company is not registered, then register your entity, then take it out. Between 3 months to 6 months approximately to raise a fund, depends on the amount of fund it is. And also, once you're raising funds, talk to your banks as well. Because for fundraising, you need to create a different account. So there is also a different process involved at your bank, your regular current account, if you're working in Indian entity or regular checking accounts, the LLC won't work. You need to understand because it's a bigger amount of money you'll be taking, and funds are not released at work. That someone raised 1 million, you get 1 million, you party around. It's with milestones. This milestone you cover X amount, this milestone you cover X amount.
Okay, so in the funding process, so let's say my document is straight, and like we have seen so much of these TV shows like Shark Tank, right? Where they directly sign the check or they directly tell you that, okay, I'm going to give you this million or these many crores or something like that. So how does it work? Like after the check is signed, Then do you get it right away? Or what is the compliance that needs to be done before it? What is the kind of paperwork that comes in between, right? So can you throw some light?
So I think first of all, you need to understand for your business what is the financial metrics. Either follow any of them, DCF or whatever suits your business. Understand it from accounting. Okay, this is my financial projection that is going to do me. That will cover up all your costs. It should give complete projection that you have 20 people team, these are their salaries, these are their increments over a period of 2 years, and you are showing that. If you have an earning, if you're showcasing that okay, I have 10 lakh of revenue per month, you need to showcase that 10 lakh on books. Not to be 950 or 1050. If someone is adjusting to it, don't account for that because it needs to be exact. A founder knows his numbers, right? So you need to be compliant on whatever revenue, whatever projection has been shown. You need to show those details to that particular person. The check is signed right away. It is not released right. It follows up all the due diligence meeting, all the claims what you have given in the pitch and shown that okay, these are the numbers, this is the SAM, SOM, and TAM, these are the terminologies which you need to understand. That would be your growth 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line. Once this thing all tied up, this due diligence take anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And if 1 crore is done, you will get it in parts. Milestone one, you achieve this. Milestone two, you achieve this. That is somewhere where you receive funding. And the best way to get funding is not to approach someone, but rather someone approaching you. So someone approach you, like we are talking to a couple of investors who approach us around different type of our products where they want to fund. So in that particular case, you need to create that for your investors. That you need to get into their group of networks, talk to their existing funding companies, go to their networking events, talk to them. Don't show the interest what you're doing, but rather than throw an ideas. Okay, these are our details where you can talk around. And there are various events which are happening all throughout the world, which you can attend, and you can find the right investor for your domain.
And what about post fund? Let's say I received fund and it's like day-to-day operation which is going around.
Yeah.
So how much do you get to interact with your investors and how do they monitor if their funds are getting like if you talk about me and I am investing in something and I'd be more than curious to understand like what's happening with my fund.
Yeah.
So how do you report it back to the investors and how frequently you do it? What is the process behind it?
Yeah. So I think that also depends on founder how much they want investor to be involved in. So investor would be on your toe always because they want to make a good amount of money on you because they have made investment not just of the amount but on the time only. Right. So it depends on you how much report you want to give. That also comes in the due diligence document. That you need to submit a weekly report, you need to submit a monthly report, you need to submit a bi-weekly report. And you might have known the scenarios where Shark Tank people were approaching everyone, then we want 40 hours of you in a month. So that 40 hours is responsible on how much you want from the investor. Right. So here we are requesting their guidance because we have approached a person who we have requested to grow our startup together. So to be getting equally involved in this, open all the things to them which is necessary for them to know. If you're making any point of decision, it's good to get validation from them first because they have done their due diligence and understanding in the market from long amount of time. But rather, if I would suggest talking to an investor twice in a week is a good amount. But if investor is quite occupied, then a weekly once connect is required. If you're growing on a quarterly cycle or a monthly cycle, that could be a match.
Nice. That's good. That's good. And does it also differ according to what kind of investor is it? It is like angel, venture, or anyone?
Yeah, it varies with each person. So if you're going for a VCs who is fueling a couple of people's money, they might not have that much time for you, but their team might have. So you need to find the right point of contact with them. And I think weekly connect once it's solid proof throughout.
So when you talk about institutional investors, like you talk about private equity, yeah, or you talk about venture capitalist fund, right? So there might be a lot of people involved because these are big companies.
Sure.
So who do you talk to in this big company?
So if you talk about our examples, we are talking to always a representative. Account managers is always assigned to you once you are dealing with PC property. Depends on your requirement and depends.
Would you also ask board seats? Or what does it? How does
Yeah.
that work?
So it depends on how much board seats you want to give. But normally a big VC company, once they get involved, they occupy at least once. So if you are making a 5 or 10 people of your board seat, 5 seat is good enough. You need to give one board seat to the person.
Is it wise to give more than one seat to an investor?
For starting, it's not wise. Even for one seat, it's not wise if you're raising in single digits. So you can commit that board seat later once the product is going along long, because you see all the dynamics before, but while executing, all the dynamics change. So it's better to judge, and even the investors are quite wise. They understand that they want to be on the board seat or not, because board seat comes up with more responsibilities. Like you are involved with the strategic decisions of even the hiring. So you need to take care of the panel and the complete product growth development.
And what are the common challenges that entrepreneurs face while raising funds or like talking to investors?
So one of the things what every entrepreneur faces, they are so much passionate about their ideas, they actually forget about the logic around the product, right? So you need to keep your logics and your love for the product a little bit aside. You need to be mad about of your product. That is good, but not in all the scenarios. Once you're talking to VCs, once you're talking to an investor, you need to give clear-cut numbers, and you need to move your personal intention aside, and you just need to focus majorly on your numbers. If you're showing your numbers correct, then the investor would be interested in you. Rather, if you're just talking more about your product, that my product can do this, my product can do this, they sense a fear around the entrepreneur, because in that particular case, you have more chances of failures because you cannot see if anything is going wrong. So you need to be passionate about your ideas, and you need to be professional around your numbers. I would say this would be the things you need to take ahead.
Nice, nice. So last, I think I just want to understand on the exit part as well. Everyone invests and they want to do an exit, right? So what is like doing an exit actually means? And how does it work?
So if I say recent, I was reading about Purple, the company which was there. Right? So it has given more than someone who has invested 1 crores in an year back might have got a return of 125 crores. They're still not diluting, right? So you need to see the exits as an investor. If you're seeing, or if you're seeing as a company, the exit should come in, because many companies are buying back their shares. Like couple of companies has done in the recent times, like Fresh Desk and everyone has done that. So there can be a scenario where you are buying back their shares as well, because you see the value going on. So if you see the market potential, always have your numbers clear. So this is my total addressable market in the world. This will grow at this much scale. If the startup is already worth $1 billion, it can go till 10 billion, it can go till 100 billion. What is the final goal of it? If with the time period I'm getting the proper X of my amount, so I'm getting 1000X, and the 1000X can become a 1 lakh X in certain point of time, I can still remain in the game, right? So you need to understand that metrics with the total addressable market and the target segment.
But can investor exit at any time, or
there is a locking period. So once the investor is funding you for suppose 3 years period, and if you're requesting for more funds, and investor wants to exit, they can exit during that point of view. So you can always find a query around it, mutually agree.
so there will be a new investor who will be filling in the gap.
Yes.
Which is there. So that is where the concept of Series A,
Series A, Series B, which comes in, someone wants to dilute from previous round, or they want to move ahead, because the board also decide now they need to take it up.
Right. So that's very insightful what we discussed related to the funding part. But funding is kind of a necessary evil. That means you should be very, very like choosy when you, like give your equity or something. So that's a great discussion, Rao.
Yep.
I think we'll share more details about the other incubation centers which are like right now available to students as well as young entrepreneurs who want to raise funding, right?
Yeah.
And they can give a lot of support as well apart from funding also. So please look for those links, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.